Hello, welcome to another episode of class. This one is multiplying decimal by decimal part one. um, Remember, whenever we're looking at these, when we're talking about decimals, this is one whole, and one whole is made of 100 hundredths. One whole is also made of 10 tenths. So I remember also 10 hundredths makes a tenth. And then 10 tenths makes one whole. So that will help you in your understanding of today's lesson, because today's lesson is using pictures to multiply decimal times decimal. We'll use the algorithm too, because that's working pretty well for us. So study the following image. Um, it's a purple square with a yellow circle. I think something happened. I'm not sure that this is what they really wanted you to look at, but we can't tell anything from this. It's a purple square, or rectangle to be exact, with a yellow circle. What do you notice? Purple and yellow. What do you wonder? Everything. I wonder everything. Okay, so let's get into it. What decimal value is pictured? Okay, this I can do. This looks like something that I can actually read. So remember, if this is 1/10 right here, then if we had three of those, that would be 3/10. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. All right, so they're showing us the value in numerical form. That is 3/10. So one group of 3/10 is what we're looking at here on the left side. So that's 1 times 3/10. Over here, we have two groups of 3/10. It looks like 6/10, but you can kind of tell there's this gap in between. So they're kind of saying that this is a group right here and this is a group here. They look like this group over here. So you could say that this is two groups of 3/10. All right. And so that's kind of like what we were doing last week. We were multiplying whole numbers times decimals. So we got 6/10 when we multiplied two wholes times 3/10. Now it says, what do we know about 4/10 times 3/10? All right, so 4/10 times 3/10. The first thing that I'm going to tell you that should help you with your understanding of multiplying decimals is the multiplication sign basically means of, like the word of. All right, and what I mean by that is 4/10 times 3/10 is the same thing as saying 4/10 of 3/10. All right, and that might not make a whole bunch of sense right now, but it might make a lot of sense when we look at the picture. So think about 1 times 3/10. That's what we're looking at over here. If we have one group of 3/10, then we have 3/10. Another thing I want you to think about is think about 0 times 3/10. We have 0 groups of 3/10. We have nothing. So if we have 4/10 times 3/10, remember, if you will, 4/10 is greater than 0, but it is also less than 1. So if 3/10 times 1 is 3/10, and 3/10 times 0 is 0, then 3/10 times 4/10 should be somewhere between 0 and 3/10. So what it says here is, what do you know about 4/10 compared to one whole? 4/10 is less than one whole. 4/10 is not even 1/2, right? 4/10 is 4 of these. 4/10. All right, so should the product of 4/10 times 3/10 be greater or less than 1/10 times 3/10? All right, so like we just said over here, if 1 is greater than 4/10 and 4/10 is greater than 0, then 3/10 times 4/10 should be somewhere between 0 and 3/10. So the product would be less than the product of 1 times 3/10. Come back in the next video.